Hello, this is Monica Sawyer. Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women, where we focus on all aspects of real estate investing, including strategies, mindset, emotional mastery, money smarts, and so much more to ensure your success. If you'd like to learn my personal favorite investing strategy, just go to blissfulinvestor.com. You can also listen to this episode on the Real Estate Investing for Women podcast on iTunes. Now, let's welcome our guest. Today, I am so excited to welcome to the show the one, the only man on fire, John Lee Dumas. Hello, how are you?
Monica, it is great to be here. I love your energy, love your vibe. It's always awesome hanging out with you.
Yeah, I just love it, John. And Happy New Year! Yay!
Party time!
Party time, exactly. Hey, John, you put together a journal called the 100-Day Goal Journal. Accomplish what matters to you, right? I know that you talk to entrepreneurs all over the place so much, right? Talk to me about why goals are so important. Why did you put together this particular journal?
So I've interviewed now over 2,700 successful entrepreneurs. And to be honest with you, I can only pull out a couple themes that almost every single one of those 2,700 have in common. One of those very few themes that is just across the board is successful entrepreneurs. They know how to set goals, and then they know how to accomplish those goals that they've set. And frankly, unsuccessful people just don't know how to do either, and they're not doing either, and they're suffering as a result. So I just wanted to create a strategy guide for people to step by step understand what it means to accomplish a goal that matters to them. And so that's why the 100-Day Goal Journal exists. And I'm very, very proud of that work.
Yeah, I can't wait to use it. So talk to me a little bit about what is a meaningful goal from your perspective?
So first off, you got to step back and say, let me just set a SMART goal. And a SMART goal is 5 components: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound, critical. Those 5 things need to be part of your goal every single time. And I think a lot of people don't really focus on the meaningful part of the goal, because listen, a lot of people will accomplish a goal. They'll be like, sweet, I accomplished the goal, but why is my life still the same, or doesn't feel like it's really moved forward? It's because you didn't set a meaningful goal. You just set a goal and you accomplished it, but it has to be meaningful. It has to be something that really matters to you. That's why you got to be specific with it. It's got to be measurable. You got to actually be able to measure what that goal is that you've accomplished. It's going to be attainable. It can't be unrealistic. Otherwise you'll quit. It's going to be relevant. That's that meaningful part. Like, it's going to actually matter to your life. And then it's going to be time bound. Like, you have to set a time frame, which is why I use the 100 days. So that's the critical components that a lot of people miss when they set goals, and it just has to be a part of it.
Talk to me a little bit about the 100 days. To me, that seems like such an arbitrary number. Could you tell me a little bit about why you chose that?
So I don't want to say that it's not arbitrary, because it's got some arbitrariness in there for sure. Like, there's no like magical formula that 100 days is the perfect number. But for me, I just wanted to sit down and say, what is a time frame that feels realistic? Like, people are like, oh, I'm going to do this in 2021. Well, for me, like, a year is way too long of a time frame, because it's long. Like, it is. Like, yes, a year goes by like that, but when you're in the beginning part of it, it feels like you have all the time in the world to accomplish that goal, because you have a full year. And at the same time, anything like less, like 25, 35, 55, like, that goes by in a blink of the eye. And like, I want people to not look at too short of a time frame and say, well, I'm not willing to really create a stretch goal that's going to push me. Like, I want people to, number one, feel like they have a good amount of time, but not too much time that they procrastinate. And to me, like, the 100 days just kind of slotted in there very nicely, where it's enough time to accomplish something really big, but not too much time where you feel like you can just kind of slack off at the beginning. Like, you get 100 days, you wake up the next day, you're already down to double digits. You're at 99 days. The clock is ticking, time to get your butt moving, make things happen. So it's kind of arbitrary, but it's something that really has worked for me. And so that's why I went with it.
Got it. So tell me, what if someone doesn't succeed in achieving their goal in 100 days? What do you recommend?
They should give up at life. Like it's
Really?
over.
Oh dear.
Listen, I'm a big believer in you get to the 100 days and you haven't accomplished your goal. It's time to assess. And in fact, in this journal, you have reassessments where you're looking back at day 25, 50, and 75 to really identify your progress and to really see, like, and to make sure and hold you accountable that you are moving forward at the pace you should be. So frankly, you'll know well before day 100 if you're not going to accomplish your goal, because there's all these specific check-in points on the way. And guess what? There's nothing wrong at day 75 to adjust your goal down, or hey, maybe jack it up if you're way ahead of the game. Nothing's wrong with that, because this is not a perfect science. This isn't like this recipe where if you get one ingredient wrong, the whole thing's terrible. That's not the case. So this is a fluid, that's actually the best word. It's a very fluid process, and challenge yourself. And if you got to tweak things down a little bit by day 50, by day 75, you'll know it and do so. And if you got to jack things up because you're way ahead of schedule, do that too. So that by day 100, you'll know 100% like where you're going to be by that point, and you're going to feel good about it.
How do you know if you're succeeding?
If your goal is being accomplished, okay. I mean, like if you're seeing marked progress, and that's part of the process where you are actually, grading and judging yourself every step along the way. Like you're being hard on yourself. You need to be your own worst critic. And this book ensures that you do. This journal, this guide, this strategy, this system ensures that you are your most harsh critic, because you need to be, because nobody else really cares about you. Like, I hate to say it, they don't really care about you because they got their own stuff to care about. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they don't love you. It's not that they're not rooting for you. But frankly, they don't really care that much about your goal because they got their own crap that they're worried about. Their life is crazy and mayhem and tough enough without thinking about you every 10 seconds or 10 days or 100 days. So just realize you are your own best cheerleader. And at the same time, you've got to be your own worst critic too.
So I believe that nobody cares about you as much as you care about you. Right. That's the thing, is like like you say, we've got all our own stuff. Right. So even an accountability coach or partner is not really going to care about your achievements as much as they're going to care about their own. Right. Because they're not in your head or in your life. Right. So that's kind of what I love so much about this journal, is it makes you your own accountability partner. Right. And could you talk a little bit more about accountability specifically? Why is that so important?
Because it's everything. Because, listen, even though nobody's going to care about us, but like ourselves, is true. We need that kick in the butt by people that care about us. And when you are in an accountability group and you have people who you're counting on and they're counting on you, then there does come this kind of, bond together where you are rooting for each other. You're checking in with each other. You don't want to let each other down. It's so critical. So I have actually multiple masterminds for different parts of my life. I've got a health mastermind, got a business mastermind, because I want to make sure that I'm excelling at both areas of my life. And to do that, I need accountability in both areas of my life. So that's just an example of why an accountability group is so important, because it's going to ensure that you don't just slither away and go watch Netflix all day, because you've got a meeting with your partners, with your accountability group, with your masterminds, and they're going to want to know what you've done.
And would you call this journal your own personal accountability partner?
Absolutely. And like I say, that's why I wanted and really like the idea of a physical journal, because you can't hide from that. You can't put the folder, in some hidden little, on your desktop and hide it somewhere. Like, it's on your bedstand. It's on top of your desk. Like, it's in your briefcase. Like, it's there taunting you. I dare you not to use me today, because the proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, I heard you on another podcast talk about focusing on your strengths when setting your goals, rather than what so many people do is, I'm going to improve this about myself. And they're trying to improve the thing that they suck at, right? So, right. I believe that to be blissful, which is what I'm all about, you really want to focus on what's awesome about you and make it awesomer. Do you agree with me on that?
So listen, we don't need another C student in this world. We just don't need it. And so that's the problem. We won't go down this rabbit hole, but a big problem with traditional education is they're like, Okay, you got an A in this subject. Okay, good. We don't need to focus on that anymore. You got a D and a C here. Like, let's spend all of our time here. But it's like, it's the opposite. It's like, what are you naturally great at? Like, what are you really, really good at right now? How do you become even better at that? Because why do you want to go from a D to a C? Like, you're going from like crappy to still kind of crappy. And like, this world doesn't need more kind of crappy. What this world needs is you living in your bliss, you living in your best self, like you being on fire. And that's going to happen when you're doing what you love, when you're doing what you're great at. That's how you're going to blossom. And that's what the world needs. And so that's why I'm a big believer in saying, hey, what am I great at? Let me spend all my time doing that. And the things I'm not good at, hire people on your team to do those things, or just don't do them at all, because it's not worth doing average, because it's just not going to move the needle for you. So, I only do a handful of things in my business. I only do the things that A, I'm really good at, and B, that I enjoy doing. That's it. And then the other things that happen in my business are because I've hired the right people to do those things.
And if you're good at something or you enjoy doing it, you're still going to fail, right? I mean, failure is part of the game. Could we talk a little bit about that?
I mean, listen, failure is 100% part of it. In fact, I was just on a recent interview where I was talking about sports, and they say, like, why do you love sports? And I'm like, I love sports because to me, it taught me as a child growing up that you're going to lose, that you're going to fail, but there's always that next game, and you don't know if you're going to, win or lose that next game, but there's always that chance to win, to hit that home run. And it's even more applicable in business and life, is because you can fail 100 times in a row. And if you win the 101th and the 101st time, like, that's everything. That's all that matters. That's all people will know you for. Does anybody know me for all of the failures I had before I launched Entrepreneurs on Fire? No, because they don't care about that. I don't care about that. And we don't spend any time talking about that. What they know me for is my one success, which was launching Entrepreneurs on Fire 8 years ago. That was my first and biggest win. And like, that's what propelled me to where I am today. And it's even, like I said, better in business than in sports, because if you lose 100 times and you win 101 time, your record's 1 in 101. That's still a pretty crappy record. You still won, which is great, but still a crappy record. In business, you're just 1-0. Like, you just won the game, and you can take that to the highest level. So that's why failure's part of it. Getting back up and swinging is everything.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. That is a big difference, right? In business, you can become an overnight success immediately, right? Like, it could take you 30 years to get there, but then suddenly you're there.
Totally.
Right? It's amazing. So I want to just ask you, could you tell us one daily practice, John, that you would say contributes to your personal success?
So every day I stand right behind me and I do 15 minutes of yoga. It's a very stretching, focused yoga. And it's just part of my daily rhythm. So I love it because I stretch. It's time that I'm contemplating my day. Kind of like in a meditative state. I'm relaxed. I'm doing deep breathing. I'm having like this really kind of private, enjoyable moment that's, great for my body, great for my mind, great for my soul. And it's just this nice, quiet start to my day that, I will take that over a cup of coffee any day. Although I still drink my coffee.
Yeah. John, this has been amazing. Thank you for joining us today and sharing all your amazing wisdom with my ladies.
It's been so awesome, Monica. Thanks for having me. Take care.
You too. Talk soon, yeah? I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to download my favorite investing strategy, just go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.